Malik was just a boy from a small village. He lived with his mother in a tiny house made of wood and tin. They had no car, no TV, and sometimes not enough food. But Malik had something else, something stronger than all the things he did not have. He had a dream. Every morning, Malik woke up before the sun. He washed his face with cold water from the well. Then he helped his mother feed the chickens and pull weeds from their little farm. After that, he put on his old, torn shoes and started walking to school. The road was dusty. His backpack was made from an old rice sack. But Malik never complained. The other children at school laughed at him. "Look at his shoes. Why does he bring trash to school? He's the farm boy who plays with junk." Malik stayed quiet. He did not fight back. He just smiled and sat at the back of the class. In his bag, under his books, were small pieces of wire, old batteries, and broken toys. He loved machines. He loved to take things apart and try to fix them. His hands were always busy. His mind was always thinking. One day during lunch, a group of boys saw Malik sitting alone with an old broken fan in his lap. He was turning it into something new. "Hey, junk boy," one of them shouted. "Are you building a spaceship?" They all laughed loudly. Malik looked up and said softly, "No, it's a drone." "A drone? For what? To fly over your chickens?" They laughed even harder and threw stones near him. Malik didn't say anything. He gently put the fan in his bag and stood up. As he walked away, he whispered to himself, "One day a helicopter will land here, and they will not be laughing." Nobody heard him, but his eyes were serious. That night, Malik sat outside his small house under the stars. His mother came and gave him a bowl of rice. "Eat, my son," she said. "You didn't eat much at lunch." "I'm not hungry, Mama," Malik said. His mother sat beside him. "They laughed at you again?" Malik nodded. She touched his shoulder. "Let them laugh. You have something they don't understand. You have fire in your heart." Malik smiled. "I want to build something real, something that flies, something that helps people." His mother smiled too. "Then build, my son. Don't stop." Malik went to bed late. He spent hours looking at a book he got from the old library, a book about machines, wires, and flight. It was old and some pages were torn, but Malik read it again and again. At school the next day, a teacher saw him sketching something in his notebook. "Malik," she said, "stop drawing. Pay attention to the lesson." "It's a blueprint, miss," he said. "For what?" "A flying machine." The class laughed. Even the teacher smiled. "You should focus on farming. Machines are not for boys like you." Malik said nothing, but he felt a fire grow in his chest. No one believed in him, no one except his mother. After school, Malik didn't go home right away. He stopped by the village junkyard. He dug through old metal, broken radios, and wires. He found a small motor, rusty, but maybe still good. He smiled. A voice behind him said, "Still collecting garbage, farm boy?" It was one of the older boys from school. Malik didn't look back. He just said, "This garbage will fly one day." The boy laughed and walked away. Malik held the motor tightly in his hand. He looked up at the sky. A plane flew high above, leaving a white trail behind it. "One day," Malik whispered, "they'll come here. For me." Malik sat in his small room every night after dinner. His room had no real bed, just a mattress on the floor. A single candle lit the room. Around him were wires, plastic, old batteries, and broken parts. He was building something he had seen only in books, a drone. Every night he worked quietly. He used spoons as propellers. He used a small fan motor to try to make the blades spin. He used an old phone battery to give it power. It didn't fly yet. But he was getting close. At school, nothing had changed. The other children still laughed. "Look, he brought more junk." Going to fly to the moon today, Malik? Farmer boy with his toys. Malik didn't answer. He just sat at the back, opened his notebook, and worked on his blueprints. One day, during break time, he placed his small drone model on a bench near the football field. He wanted to test if the blades could spin. A group of boys saw him. They walked over with mean smiles. "What's this, Malik?" one asked. "A toy chicken?" "It's a drone," Malik replied. "A drone? Ha! This thing? You think it will fly?" Malik nodded. One of the boys reached down and grabbed the drone. "Hey, give it back," Malik said. "Let's see how well it flies." The boy laughed and threw it high into the air. The drone hit the ground hard. It broke into pieces. The boys laughed loudly. Malik stood frozen. His hands shook. His eyes burned with pain. "Why do you even try, junk boy?" one boy said. Malik said nothing. He knelt down, picked up the broken pieces, and put them gently into his bag. That evening, Malik sat quietly on the farm. His mother came and saw the sadness on his face. "They broke it again, didn't they?" she asked. Malik nodded slowly. She sat beside him and looked at the sky. "When the sky is dark, the stars shine brightest. Keep building, son. Keep dreaming." Malik wiped his tears. "But Mama, no one believes me." "I believe you," she said. Malik hugged her tightly. The next day at school, the teacher asked all students to write an essay about what I want to be. Most children wrote about being teachers, farmers, or shop owners. Malik wrote, "I want to be an inventor. I want to build machines that help people. I want to fly." The teacher read his essay and smiled. In a strange way. "Malik," she said, "these dreams are too big for this village." "No dream is too big," Malik said quietly. The class laughed. Even the teacher chuckled. After school, Malik went to the small computer shop in the village. The owner, Mr. Danu, let children use the old computer for 5 minutes if they paid 5 rupees. Malik placed 5 coins on the counter and asked, "Can I use it?" Mr. Danu nodded. "Just 5 minutes, boy." Malik typed a letter to a big university he had read about in a newspaper. He wrote, "Hello, my name is Malik. I am a boy from a farm village. I build machines from junk. I made a drone. I want to learn more. Please help me. I have no money, but I have ideas." He sent the email and walked out. He didn't know if anyone would ever read it, but he had to try. That night, he sat under the stars again, holding the broken parts of his drone. "This is not the end," he whispered. "They can break my drone, but not my dream." Days passed, then weeks. Malik didn't hear back from the university. No email, no reply. But he didn't stop. The broken drone lay on his table. He didn't cry anymore. He just worked, quietly, carefully, patiently. Every night after dinner, he sat with a small flashlight tied to his head. His hands moved fast, cutting, twisting, building, wires, motors, batteries, glue. He was making something bigger than before. He called it the secret project. He told no one, not even his mother. One night, his mother found him asleep at the table, a screwdriver in his hand, a wire on his cheek. She smiled softly and covered him with a blanket. Malik now skipped lunch at school. He saved the money instead, 1 coin at a time. After 2 weeks, he had enough to buy an old motor from the junk shop. The man at the shop laughed when Malik asked, "What will you do with this, farm boy?" he said. Malik replied, "Make it fly." The man laughed harder. "You and your flying dreams." But he gave Malik the motor. Malik smiled and walked home with it like it was gold. He didn't care about the laughs anymore. He was focused. The secret project had become his world. At school, Malik's grades started to drop. Teachers scolded him. "Malik, stop dreaming. You're failing science." He looked up and said, "I'm building it in real life." They didn't understand. One evening while he was working, he remembered something. A book A few years ago, a man from the city visited the village. He gave Malik a small science book. The man had said, "You have the spark, boy. Don't lose it." Malik found that book again. It was dusty, but still readable. He studied the pages, circled the pictures, and tested every idea. He added a small camera from a broken phone to his new drone. It didn't work the first time, or the second, but he didn't stop. Sometimes he needed help, but there was no one in the village who understood machines. So he started writing letters, real letters, with a pen and paper. He sent them to people he read about in newspapers, inventors, teachers, engineers. He wrote, "My name is Malik. I'm a boy from a farm. I build things from junk. Please help me learn more." Weeks passed. No replies. Still, he worked. One night, he finally connected all the wires on the new drone. He charged the battery. He placed it on the ground. He clicked the switch. The blades spun slowly, then faster, then lift. The drone lifted 1 inch off the ground for 2 seconds, then stopped. It fell, but Malik jumped with joy. "It flew," he whispered. "Even for 2 seconds, it flew." The next day. He didn't tell anyone. But he walked to school with his head high. His eyes were bright. His heart was full. During lunch, he sat alone again. But he wasn't sad. In his mind, he saw his drone flying higher, stronger. After school, he ran home. That night, he made notes on how to make it fly longer. He worked until the candle burned out. The next day, a strange thing happened. The man at the computer shop waved at him. "Hey, farm boy," he shouted. "Come here. Someone sent you an email." Malik ran inside. The screen showed one message. From Professor Allen, Future Tech University, Malik. "We read your message. We want to know more. Can you send a video of your project?" Professor Allen Malik's hands shook. His heart raced. Someone had answered. Someone important. He ran home, grabbed his drone, and asked his neighbor to help him record a video. The sun rose like any other day. Chickens clucked, goats bleated, and the village came to life. But Malik felt something different in the air. He couldn't explain it. His heart beat faster. His hands were cold. It had been 5 days since he sent the video of his drone to Professor Allen. Still no reply. He sat with his mother, eating a small breakfast of rice and boiled egg. "You're quiet today, Malik," she said. He nodded. "I feel something is coming, Mama. I don't know what, but something big." She smiled and touched his hand. "When your heart feels that, it means change is near." Malik walked to school slowly that day. His head was full of thoughts. At lunch, he sat alone as always. The other boys still mocked him. "Where's your toy drone now, junk boy?" Still dreaming of flying? Malik said nothing. He just smiled. After school, he walked home. The sky was clear, the sun hot. As he reached his farm, he heard a low sound. A strange sound, like thunder, but not from clouds. Whoop, 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 whoop. Malik stopped and looked up. A loud wind blew across the trees. Dust rose from the ground. Birds flew away in fear. The sound grew louder. Whoop, 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 whoop. People in the village looked up. A black dot appeared in the sky. It grew larger, bigger, closer. Then everyone saw it. A helicopter, a real giant helicopter with spinning blades and flashing lights. Children screamed in shock. Women ran outside. Men stood frozen. The helicopter flew low, very low. It passed the school. It passed the market. It flew straight toward the fields, toward Malik's farm. Malik stood still, his mouth open, his eyes wide. "Is this really happening?" he whispered. The helicopter circled once, then began to land. Whoop, 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 whoop. Dust flew everywhere. Crops bent under the wind. The noise was deafening. The entire village ran toward the farm. Malik's mother stepped outside, shielding her eyes. Her scarf blew in the wind. The helicopter landed just meters from their house. The blades slowed down. A door opened. Two men in suits stepped out. Behind them was a tall white man with silver hair. He wore glasses and smiled kindly. He walked toward Malik. "Are you Malik Kinte?" he asked. Malik nodded slowly. "I'm Professor Allen, from Future Tech University. I saw your drone, I saw your video, and we want to meet you, in person." The crowd gasped. "Me?" Malik asked, shaking. "Yes, you," the professor smiled. "You built something with no money, no tools, no help. That's genius, and we think the world needs to see it." One of the suited men opened a briefcase. Inside was a photo of Malik's drone, printed, clean, real. "You built this," the professor said, "and we want to help you build more." The villagers stared in silence. One boy whispered, "That's the junk boy." Another said, He did this?" Even Malik's schoolteacher arrived, eyes wide, mouth open. The professor looked around and said, "We came in a helicopter because we want the world to see this moment. This boy did something special, and now we want to take him to our lab so he can learn and grow." Malik looked at his mother. She nodded, tears in her eyes. "Go, my son. But Mama, you dreamed it. Now live it." Malik hugged her tightly. The professor smiled. "You'll come back. But first, let's take you where your ideas can fly even higher." The crowd made way as Malik stepped into the helicopter. The blades started spinning again. People raised their phones. They took photos. They waved. As the helicopter lifted, Malik looked down at his village. He saw the boys who laughed. He saw the teacher who doubted him. He saw his mother waving with pride, and he whispered, "I told you. One day, they would come." The helicopter flew high above the village. Malik looked out of the window, his eyes wide with wonder. He had never been this high in the sky. The fields looked like tiny green squares. His house was just a small dot now. Professor Allen sat beside him, smiling. "Are you nervous?" the professor asked. Malik nodded. "A little." "That's normal," the professor said. "But you should be proud. You built something many trained engineers struggled to build." Malik stayed quiet. His heart was full. For the first time, he felt seen. He felt respected. The helicopter landed in a big city. Tall buildings, fast cars, bright lights everywhere. Malik had never seen a place like this. A black car took them to a large building. On the front, it said, "Future Tech University, Research Lab." Inside, everything was clean and shining. People wore white coats and carried tablets. Machines beeped. Robots moved across the floor. Malik's eyes were full of surprise. "This is like a dream," he whispered. The professor smiled. "Come, I want to show you something." They entered a room with glass walls. On the tables were drones, flying machines, and strange gadgets. "These are our current projects," the professor said. "But your drone, built from trash, was more impressive than half of these." Malik looked down. "But I just used junk." "That's why it's special," the professor said. "You solved problems with nothing. That shows true genius." A woman entered the room. She had a laptop in her hand. "Sir, the press is here," she said. "Perfect," the professor replied. Then he turned to Malik. "Today, we tell the world about you." Malik looked confused. "The world?" Professor Allen nodded. "Yes, we called reporters. You're going to speak at our press event. We want the world to know your story." Malik's heart began to race. "But I've never spoken in front of people. Just speak from your heart," the professor said. "That's more powerful than any big words." Later that day, Malik stood on a small stage. Bright lights pointed at him. Cameras were everywhere. Reporters from news channels sat with notebooks. Professor Allen stood beside him. "This," he said, "is Malik Kinte, a 14-year-old boy from a small farm village. He built a working drone from trash, with no training, no internet, no help." The reporters gasped. Then Malik spoke, his voice soft but clear. "I come from a poor village. People laughed at me. They said I was a joke. They broke my projects. They said boys like me can never build anything. But I believed. My mother believed. And I didn't stop." He paused. The room was silent. "I didn't have money. I didn't have tools. But I had ideas. I used trash because that's all I had. And now, I'm here." One reporter raised a hand. "What message do you have for other children like you?" Malik smiled. "Don't wait for help. Start with what you have. Believe in yourself, even if no one else does." The room clapped. Cameras flashed. People stood and applauded. Malik looked around, overwhelmed. But deep inside, he felt calm. This was his truth, his story. After the event, the news spread like fire. Farm boy builds. Drone from trash, now in city lab. Village genius discovered by scientists. Boy who was, laughed at, now leads drone research. Back in Malik's village, everyone saw the news. His old teacher cried. The boys who mocked him sat in silence. His mother, she stood tall, smiling with tears. "My son," she whispered, "you showed them all." It had been 3 months since Malik left the village. In that time, everything changed. Malik now lived in the city. He stayed in a small room inside the university. He had clean clothes, warm food, and a desk full of real tools. For the first time in his life, he had real machines, real wires, and real teachers to guide him. He spent his days in the lab, learning about drones, flight, energy, and design. He asked questions. He took notes. He built faster, stronger machines. His hands were no longer rough from farm work, but skilled from creation. But even with all this, Malik never forgot the village. One morning, Professor Allen came to him with a smile. "Malik," he said, "we have an idea." "What idea?" Malik asked. "We want to show your village what you've made. We want them to see you fly your invention." Malik's eyes lit up. "You mean, go back?" "Yes," the professor said, "not as a farm boy, but as a real inventor." Malik nodded slowly. "Let's do it." A week later, the plan was ready. A team of university staff, news reporters, and cameramen joined Malik. They carried his newest drone, a large, strong one with cameras, lights, and a smooth black body. It looked like something from the future. They flew in a helicopter, just like the one that had come to the village months ago. When the sound of blades filled the sky again, the village people ran outside. Whoop, 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 whoop. Children pointed up. Old men shaded their eyes. Women clapped their hands in surprise. The helicopter landed in the same field, and out stepped Malik. But this time, he wore clean shoes, a jacket with the university's logo, safety glasses, and a confident smile. Gasps filled the air. "That's Malik, the boy who played with trash. He came back." His mother ran forward, tears in her eyes. Malik hugged her tightly. "I missed you, Mama." "You kept your promise," she whispered. "You flew." The village gathered near the field. A microphone was set up. Speakers were placed around. Malik stood in front of them all. "You laughed at me once," he said kindly. "But today I want to show you something. I don't bring anger. I bring flight." He turned and picked up his new drone. "This," he said, "is built from real tools, yes, but the idea was born in that small room of mine. This is proof that dreams don't need gold. They need heart." Then he clicked a button on a remote. The drone's blades spun. Whirr! It lifted. Slowly, then faster, then higher. Gasps and cheers filled the air. The drone danced in the sky, spinning, flipping, floating. Its lights blinked. Its camera sent a live video to a big screen set up on the side. The village watched themselves on the screen, laughing, clapping, pointing. They had never seen anything like this. The boys who used to mock him stared in awe. One whispered, "We were wrong." Even the teacher came forward and said softly, "You taught us all something, Malik." When the drone landed, the village exploded in cheers. Malik smiled. Malik sat on the roof of his old house, looking up at the night sky. The stars were bright, like tiny lights scattered across a black ocean. Beside him sat his mother, her scarf gently blowing in the wind. "You remember?" she said softly. "You used to point at the stars and say, 'One day I'll fly up there.'" Malik smiled. "And you used to laugh." "I laughed," she said, "but I never stopped believing." They sat in silence for a while. Only the crickets sang. The next morning, Malik packed his bag. It was time to return to the city. But this time, he wasn't just a student. He was now a partner in a project at Future Tech. He had a team of engineers working with him. He had a scholarship, and soon he would travel to another country for a global science fair. But before he left, the village school invited him. He stood in the same classroom where he was once mocked and ignored. Now the same boys sat in front of him, listening carefully. He held up a small box and opened it. Inside was a tiny drone, not for flying, but for learning. "I brought these for you," he said, "so you can build too. Maybe even better than me one day." The class clapped. The teacher stood and said, "We will now start a science club. Malik will be our first mentor." Malik's heart filled with joy. He was no longer just the farm boy with broken wires. He was a builder, a teacher, a dreamer. As he left the classroom, a little boy ran to him. He looked about 7 years old with wide eyes and dusty clothes. "Sir Malik," the boy said, "one day I'll fly like you." Malik knelt down. "You'll fly higher. Just promise me something." "What?" "Never stop dreaming, even when they laugh." The boy nodded and ran off, pretending his arms were wings. Malik looked up. The sky was clear. The clouds moved gently. A few days later, Malik stood on stage at an international science fair in Singapore. Cameras flashed. People clapped. The speaker called his name, Malik Kinte, winner of the Young Inventors Award, a farm boy who touched the stars. As he stepped forward, people from many countries shook his hand. His story had inspired thousands. Even leaders of companies asked to work with him. But Malik never forgot where he came from. On the stage, with cameras watching, he spoke simply, "I am Malik. I come from a small village where we had no science books, no machines, no internet. But we had hope. And I had a mother who believed in me. That was enough." The room stood and clapped. After the event, a reporter asked him, "What's next for you?" Malik smiled. "I want to build flying machines that can bring medicine to faraway villages. I want to help children like me dream bigger." He paused and looked at the sky. "And maybe," he added, "one day, I'll build something that really touches the stars." Epilogue. Back in his village, a sign was placed outside the school. It read, "Malik Kinte Science and Technology Center, where dreams learn to fly." And at night, children would lie on the grass, look up at the stars, and say, "One day I'll be like Malik," because the boy who was once laughed at had become the boy the world looked up to.